Greetings, everyone. This is Joanna Rolick of the Chamber of Commerce, and I am very happy to be able to introduce you today to a wonderful presenter that we have who is going to be covering our very first workshop in our Spring Training for Business Success series. Today, we're going to be talking about building a digital presence with guest Virginia Weiskopf. But I wanted to also suggest to you, if you haven't as yet, please be sure to register for the remaining workshops. We have a series of 4. We have 1 per week. So today we're building our digital presence. Next week on March 19th, we have Steps to Mastering Marketing with a guest lecturer from Lake Forest College's Entrepreneurship and Innovation Center. On the 24th, we have Fundraising Essentials with another lecturer from Lake Forest College. And on March 31st, the Small Business Development Center will be joining us, a consultant with the SBDC, who will be talking about the new business model, Plan and Pivot. This is a series that we're awfully excited about, and so we hope you are as well. What I would like to do is, first of all, welcome Virginia, who is sitting in a beautiful setting. I was just looking at some of her other digital settings. One included a bar, and I thought it might be fun for us to start in the bar, but it doesn't matter. And this is a digital world that we have, right? But at any rate, I want to tell you a few words about Virginia before I turn this event over to her. She is a personal technical guide, helping her clients adapt technology to fit their unique business operations without the staff expense of an in-person IT or marketing department. By keeping current with changing technologies, Virginia offers the newest and most affordable options best suited to keep your existing technology functioning at peak performance and the means to find your voice online to maximize awareness. She is also a sought-after speaker and trainer, addressing today's technical, email marketing, social media, and online educational topics. Virginia also has Friday morning free trainings. And I wanted to, first of all, welcome Virginia, but also say, Virginia, tell us a little bit about those free trainings.
So last year, when we all went into lockdown, and it's been a year now, we decided that we wanted to offer something for people who are at home. What we did is at 9 o'clock from 9 to 9:30, 9:45 sometimes, we did a free half hour on a topic, whether it was myself, my Google specialist, Jen, my digital specialist, David, or my content specialist. We went and did a half hour quick training to give an idea of what different topics need to be, because we're all stuck in our offices. And we did it every week. It was daunting. It was great. This year we have changed to once a month, and we're now doing it the third Friday of every month. And you can find those at weiskopfconsulting.com on the education page. I'm usually a couple months out, but we're always trying to offer something so that you can move your business along and give you what's going on out there and what you can do to do it. And then if you need help, you can call us.
Wonderful. Thanks, Virginia. And you'll give us, we'll have that, your URL at the end of the presentation.
Yes, correct? We will.
So people can jump on board and take a look at that as well. And we'll be happy to share it with all of you. I wanted to just cover just a moment of housekeeping here. You'll note at the bottom of your screen that there is a Q&A tab, or button, I should say. That is how your questions will come to Virginia. And I would suggest that if you have a question, don't go into the chat, just use the Q&A. I'll be monitoring that so that I can share them with her and she can jump on your questions as we go through the presentation. Virginia, let me turn it over to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Joanna. I'm excited to share how to build a digital presence with everyone. And yes, I like it to be interactive as possible in this world of digital age. So if we're on a slide where you have a question, please type it into Joanna so she can ask. It's easier for me to answer it at the time and in context than to try to figure out at the end where it's going. So feel free to do that. So we will get started. If I can find my mouse, I've lost my mouse. Here we go. So we're building a digital presence. I'm Virginia Weiskopf. As Joanna had said, I'm a personal technical guide. My shtick is that I want technology to be your best employee, not your worst one. So that's what I want to do. I want to help you get to where you want to be. So when we think about a digital presence, there are things we need to do, and we need to step back, and you've all heard it, and it's a daunting task, but it's the branding and citation document. So you know what your message is and what you're beginning with. You need to tell your story. And I have a problem with nonprofits that think their story is their history, and that's not. That's their history, which is their facts, figures, and that kind of stuff. Your story is what the passion part that brings you to do your business. And that's what it is too for your business. What is it? What is your mission? What is your story? How are we going to get there? So we want to do that. We need to develop the tagline. So I used a book called Developing Your Core Message. It's chapter 2 of Duct Tape Marketing. And it helps you get to where you want to be. So I translate technology into a language you speak. That is my tagline. It helps you understand what technology can do for you. And you can have a couple different taglines, but you need to get it so that that person understands by reading it what you do. Then I'm not sure if all of you know what a citation is, not the kind the police give you. A citation on the web is anytime your business is mentioned. And you need to Google yourself and look at all of them, because some citations you put up, some citations other put up, but Google is very literal. So if your address is 123 South Main Street, you cannot put 123 S Main Street, 123 South Main Street, and 123 S period Main Street. Google thinks of them as 3 different companies. So what you want to do is make sure you go out, you create this document so that everyone does the same things. I come to the party late a lot of times, and they've had one of their employees do their Facebook, someone else put them on Twitter, and someone else did something else, and everything is different. You want to develop this document so that when you go out, everyone knows what to use and what to say. So you appear the same on the web. Very important document. Yes, it takes a little work, but it's important to do. You should also have the information of headshots you're going to use, logos and pictures, colors and fonts, and we'll get to that. So we're going to talk about a little resources that can get you there. Raise of hands, and you can tell me, Joanna, how many of you have heard of Canva or use Canva?
Do we have hands raised? 2, and I can tell you the chamber is.
Okay, so Canva, do you have a free nonprofit account, Joanna?
Yes.
Yes. So if you're a nonprofit, you can get a free pro account, which gives you some extra bonuses. But Canva is free, and you can have all your designs. You can have people share it. You can do all kinds of things, and it gives you all the sizes you need to create assets for your online presence. It also has a spot. Oh, come back here. Where's my graphic that I want? Oh, I changed that slide and I'm not getting my graphic. Anyway, there is a spot in Canva that you can put, it's called a brand kit. It says brand kit, and you can put your logos in there, you can put your colors in there, you can put your fonts in there. So anyone on your team can look at that and know what to do when they create something. You can even create a picture that has, if this is our logo, what all the colors are and what the fonts are. So if someone is going to make something, they have a roadmap to do it, and they're not going to use something that's not applicable to you or your brand. So Canva is a great place. You can store all your stuff there, and people can work from there that are in your company and not have to call you or find something. It's all right there in one spot. The other resource I'm going to give you is called colors.co. This is an online place where you can go and start finding a color palette to use. And it will generate some, and you can replace them, but it will give you all different colors. You can download it and then know what you want to use. So if you have no idea how to match or do colors, you can start with your primary color that you use for your logo and go from there. Great resource to use. The next one to use is Google Fonts. It's fonts.google.com. You're going to find that in the back end of WordPress sites, they don't have Microsoft fonts at all. What you find in them is Google Fonts. Now you can go to Google Fonts, look through all of them, download them to your computer so that you can now start working with the fonts that are popular. So Google Fonts is great. There's also a couple websites, which I didn't add here, that help you match fonts. So if you want to use 3 different fonts on your website, it can show you which ones to use so that they'll work in harmony. Again, those are all pieces that go into your citation document, so you're consistent across the web when you're doing things so people can find you. Sorry. So those were just resources for you that I told you up front that you can use. What we're going to talk today about with your presence is your website, Google, the friend we love to hate, and our social media accounts. And we're going to go through all 3 of them. So first, we're going to talk about our website. And when you're building a website, you automatically think of the front end. But there's a front end and a back end. Your front is your layout and your branding, your hierarchy, and everything you should get to in 3 clicks. If everything isn't in 3 clicks, you put too much information on there, and people are going to jump off before they find it. In your content, you should always have a section that are FAQs. What are the things people ask you the most? Very easy to put together. Every page should have a specific call to action, not 5 or 6. Don't confuse them. You want them to do 1 thing, maybe 2. The government writes their websites at a 5th grade level. The average website is written at the 8th grade level. Please don't be a hater on me. I'm just sharing the facts with you. It needs to be easily scanned with the eyes, and you have to use your keywords when you write your content. It has to have photos and videos because people like pictures, and to have things spoon-fed to them through a video. And any download that you do needs to be branded. So if someone wants to get something from you and put it in their office, it now has all your information on it. So that's the front end in a nutshell. The back end is where everyone is like, oh my goodness. So we have to look at some things in the back end. First is SEO, which is search engine optimization, where your keywords, your descriptions, and your citation documents all fit into place so that they all match on your website. You have to now have an SSL certificate on every site. Originally, it was only for shopping sites, but now if you don't have an SSL certificate on your site and you click to go to a site, Google's going to give that visitor a warning that says this is not a secure site. Do you want to go? And you never want a roadblock in front of you, so you have to make sure. Most of the major website hosts include it as part of the package now because it's so prevalent and needed. You also need to think about your tracking codes, your Google Analytics code, your Facebook tracking code, your LinkedIn tracking code. All of those need to be part of your website so that if people come to your website, if you're going to retarget, then you can use that information to retarget. You all know that you've looked at something online and then everywhere you search for something else, it pops up. That's what those tracking codes do. You need to make sure that it's mobile friendly, because how many of you get up from the couch to go search for something? No, you sit on the couch and look at it on your phone. Even now on the streaming services, they pop up a QR code or they give you something else on the screen to encourage you to use your phone to find out more information. I mean, it's really moving to that. When your photos, they have to be sized for the web so they load quickly, and they need to be named correctly. You don't want to upload a photo that is DCM235.jpg because Google, when it crawls, indexes these pictures. Mine say Weiskopf Consulting and what page they're on, or what the subject is. So if anyone uses images and searches either for the subject or for me, they're going to populate because Google has, crawled them and put them in an archive. All of your documents need to be branded and named correctly, just like that. Your name needs to be on the top. There needs to be a footer. So if I download it in my office, I have all your information right here to call you. And then we need to make sure we are going to catch their email in some way, shape, or form, whether we trade it for a download, we ask them to sign up for a discount, however we do that, because email is still the biggest one-to-one contact piece across the platforms. Though open rates have dropped about 8 to 10% across the board on all statistics because people have so many emails coming in again right now. So there's that whole slide, which you guys are probably rolling your eyes at, but we'll go to the next one. So website design elements that you need to think about. Two new big terms are UX and CX, which is user experience or customer experience. It's all about them, and it really is. It's all about them. We want to make sure we guide the reader's eyes down the page, we capture their attention, and it promotes all of these things. One of the things you can do is Google, when you have Google Analytics, it offers you a heat map. So if you can go back and see where they're reading on the page to see that they're moving down your page to get to that call to action. So we need to make sure that our design elements are not too much, but get to the point where we get them to do that call to action. When I talk to about a call to action, it's not buy now. We're asking them to sign up for something. They're downloading something. We're asking them to go to our blog to read more. We're asking them to share something. We're asking them to watch a video. We're asking them to register or chat or donate or add to cart. Add to cart is probably the least one because you want to develop a relationship when they first get there. So remember, this is the beginning of a relationship. You want to be giving, you want to be authority on your subject, and you want to be available for them if they have a question to develop that long-term relationship to get them to make a purchase. I'm going to take a brief breath here and a drink of water because that's the end of the website piece, and see if there's any questions, Joanna.
Nothing yet, Virginia. I do
Okay.
have one though. Are you going to talk about Google Analytics at all, or?
Oh, Google is my next big subject.
Oh, nothing. Okay.
I'm breaking him into 3 sections. Oh, here's
Beautiful.
Google. Okay.
Wow.
And there's more to Google than Google Analytics, okay? I would like to know how many of you have claimed your Google My Business page. So Google has a lot of, and I'm going to let you count that while I talk.
Okay.
There's Google Maps, there's Google Analytics, there's the Google Crawler, there's Google pay-per-click ads, okay? Used to be AdWords, now it's like pay-per-click ads. So, but Google My Business is free. And when you Google something that's general, or if I Google My Business, your Google My Business listing should come up to the right side of the page. And you can claim that business because Google uses the information you put in your Google My Business account to populate that map when they're searching for plumbers, right, in your area. So that is very important for you to marry your website to Google My Business. How many have it, Joanna?
Only a couple.
Okay, that is, if you do nothing else from this, claim your Google My Business account and fill it out. If you have problems, my phone number will be at the end. We're happy to help you, but that's very important because that Google My Business then puts you on Google Maps. And that Google Maps is what comes second. You first, when you look at Google, you get add, and then you get the map section. Google My Business puts you there. So those are very important. Everyone should have a Google Analytics account, and that number should be on all your website pages so that you can see what people are doing. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that. The Google Crawler is what crawls your site to index your site. And then Google pay-per-click ads is something you spend money on, and it's very specific, but can be very beneficial. So this is what Google My Business even has a Google My Business page, right? So when you Google My Business, it comes up with the listings, but it shows it, and it should say right here if you're claim this business, if your business hasn't been claimed. Very important. Google puts a lot of, they gather all the information about your business so that they can share it with people. So you absolutely want to do this. What I would suggest, one of the things I do when I work for clients is I will go out and create a Gmail account specifically to put all the Google stuff in. Because when I'm setting stuff up, I don't want all this stuff coming to yours. So I might do the name of the business, plus something if that's what they have for their Gmail, so that then when I set up Google My Business, Google Analytics, YouTube, anything Google, I use that business email address and all the information comes in there for me. And I share it with the client. So before you set up Google My Business and your YouTube and everything, attach it to a separate Gmail account that's just for that piece. That's just a tip. So the question is, why are website analytics important, right? Why do we want to know them? And Google tells you more information than you can possibly digest. There's just more there that takes more than one full-time person. So you need to decide what information you need to improve your website, what makes a difference to you, and just focus on those things. So when you're using Google Analytics, this is what Google Analytics can track. Number of visitors, the pages it goes to, how much time they spend on there, if they're repeat visitors, how often they come. Bounce rate people are kind of funny on. Bounce rate means they only go to one page and leave. So you have to determine how much time they were there, because if you're sending them to a landing page, you don't want them to go anyone else. You want them to take the call to action. So you want it, but that bounce rate might be you send them somewhere they don't want to go and they leave in 10 seconds. So you need to understand that. It's telling you where your visitors are coming from, the traffic source, whether they're coming from direct, whether they're coming from Facebook, YouTube, wherever they're coming to back to your site, the transactions and conversions, if you've set that up correctly, who your visitors are. If you filled in your Google stuff, it's going to pull those demographics. It tells you their interest if that visitor has that filled out. It tells you the technology. It tells you whether they came from desktop, whether they came from phone, whether they came from iPad. So you can know who's visiting your site and how. It shows you their landing page and their exit page. It can show you the site speed. These are just the top ones, but it can show you so much.
Virginia, I've got a question for you.
Okay.
The question is, if I have more than one business website, can I use the same Gmail addresses to get analytics for both businesses or both different businesses?
You can, but you have to decide whether the analytics is something you want to combine because they're symbiotic businesses, or if they need to be separate. These are all free, so you can set up two different ones. I'm assuming if you have two businesses, you have two different websites, and so you would put the different analytics on each website. So I would say, depending on the businesses, I would split them unless they're symbiotic and all the information can be used for one big bucket. I hope that answers your question.
Thank you.
What it can't track. So even though it has tons of information, you will never know who that person is individually. That's a privacy concern. It's aggregated data. They have a privacy statement and a pop-up statement. So you on your website, if you're collecting email addresses or anything like that, because first it was the GDPR, which was the European piece of the tracking, and now California has the CCPA, and it's going to be like this across the board. Your website needs to have a privacy policy, so you can say, this is what I'm using this information for. It's just a safety feature that you should have on there. So let's talk about just a couple of examples of data to review. We want to know what the landing pages are going to and how they're coming. So if you're doing a pay-per-click ad and you've tracked it so that UTM code and the conversion code is to a landing page, you want to know how many people are coming. You also want to know how many people from just typing your website in are choosing your landing page or maybe a different page. Where are people going to? What are they doing? The ROI is very a gray area, because you can't say, I paid for this and they bought this, unless you're driving them directly to a shopping page where they make a purchase. But you can put UTM codes in to check where they're going and if you're getting traction on that ad. An engagement is a click-through rate on the site, time they spent, and how much time they came. So anytime you do anything on Facebook or Google or sending from Instagram, you want to make sure that you have a way to track it so you can see if it's paying off. So when you're looking at a landing page, here is our landing page. Here are the things that you can get, how many sessions, if they're new sessions, if they're new users, how many times they bounce. You have an acquisition and behavior, how many page sessions they went to, if they 1, 2, or 3, what the average amount of time they spent on it, and then what your conversions are if you set them up in the back end. So you can look to see what's happening on the back end of your site from what you're pushing on the front end of your site. And like I said, this is just a small snippet. You have to decide what you need to know and just measure that, not go down a rabbit hole. You could spend an hour going down a rabbit hole or longer. So let's talk about 5 ways you can effectively use those website analytics if you've set goals. So let's say you have your Facebook pixel installed on your website and you've run a branding or an awareness campaign, and you've set a goal as you want so many people to see that page. So you've set that goal, and now that you can put that time frame out that you're running the ad and see how many people do it. You can also check for problems on a page. If a page, everyone bounces off the page right away, why are they doing that? Can I look at the heat map? Am I sending them to the wrong page? Is it not loading fast enough? You can look at those things. We have to consider who our target audience is. So if we're trying to get women between the age of 24 and 35, I can look to see how many women are coming to my pages and what they're doing. And am I right about my audience? I can leverage my top traffic sources. Where are they coming from? If more people are coming from Instagram than Facebook, then I need to look at working Instagram more than working Facebook. Then I'm going to tell you to curb your addiction, because you can get more numbers and more things that you don't know what to do with. Focus on what you can do. So we want to focus with analytics on evolution, not revolution. Make minor adjustments at first. If you go in and make a whole bunch of adjustments, you can't see if A equals B. You want to know, I made an adjustment, I let it go for 30 days, did anything change? And let that data guide your decisions in the future. So circumstances may change that affect the website that cause a drop in traffic or awareness. You want to have a baseline before you start making, I say 30 to 90 days of just baseline traffic before I start making adjustments. And why did those adjustments change? A good tip would be, let's look at last March, right? What happened last March? We all got locked down. So therefore we couldn't go anywhere. So therefore they started using the internet more. You need to look at, you have more engagement now because that's how people engage. And so before you make changes, be aware of what could have caused that. How are we doing? I'm going to stop here because we're at the end of the Google piece.
Good.
And see if there's any questions.
Nope. Beautiful
Uh-oh.
job. No. That's a good thing, Virginia.
Is that right?
Yes,
I love questions.
Beautiful
though.
coverage. Thank you. Oh, wait. Nope. One just popped up. Just a moment.
Okay.
Will the slides be mailed so that we can print them out?
So I will create a PDF of the slides. They won't be one for one. I usually do them 3 up on a page to keep the size of the PDF down. And Joanna will get them to you. Yes.
Right. We're also recording.
Yep. I do that. I'm not putting this one up. Most of the time when I do a training, like my Friday trainings, I record them and reuse them on my YouTube. And I may do that. So you might find it out. If she sends out the link with the slides, I'll send out the YouTube link also.
That's beautiful. Thank you. Because then they can find you for more information.
Yes.
Thank you, Virginia.
So now, absolutely. So now we're moving to social media. Where should you be? Where are your customers? Things have changed so much in social media in the last 5 years. In terms of, first they put out all the platforms and got us addicted. I was never addicted to any of these. and I am officially addicted to TikTok. You know, I can sit and start watching these and scroll by the ones I don't want. And it's 45 minutes later. What happened? Anyway, you need to know where your customers are and where they will engage you, and what is the best place you need to be and where are places you shouldn't be. So let's talk about each of the platforms. So where were you in the digital space before the pandemic, right? So if we look at this, this is going to tell you how many people are on each one. And right here, as much as we hate Facebook, there are 2.45 billion monthly average users. But our feed is so full of advertising now, it frustrates us. YouTube, which is the second largest search engine in the world, has 1.9 billion monthly average users. So if you're not using YouTube to support your website with some type of video, you really should be. Instagram is next with 1 billion monthly average users. And I'm sure you all know that Facebook owns Instagram. TikTok, my new guilty pleasure, has 500 million monthly average users. Twitter, who I'm not sold on, you have to be a very specific business to use it, has 335 million. LinkedIn has 310 million. So if you're a business to business, absolutely you need to be there. I'm not going to go over all of them, but emails, 293.6 billion emails are sent a day. And those are a one-to-one. Where Facebook, you put a post or you do an ad, a post will get you 1 to 3% coverage of people who know you. An ad will push out to your demographics, but it's still not that one-to-one piece. That's why you want to collect those email addresses. Facebook. Oops. Still has the biggest audience. It is pay for play now. And using the retargeting with a Facebook pixel can benefit you. So Facebook built all this up to monetize. So now you have to be smart when you do the pay for play. Just boosting a post, you're just giving them money, right? Let's boost my post and it tells you had 35,000 impressions. That doesn't tell you much. Was there a call for action in your boost? Was there a way for you to see if people went to that and set it up correctly so that they went to that page? And are you using, for your audience when you push things out, that retargeting pace? So in the last 30, 60, or 90 days, I can pull who's been to my website with a Facebook account and promote just to them. So it's not just as easy as boosting a post. I would not, you can boost a post and see how far you get. I've done it. But really, if you're really looking for that, you need to understand how the Facebook ads work, who you're retargeting, and capturing that information on the other end when they come to your site. So then YouTube, right? YouTube, the second largest search engine in the world, owned by Google, of course, and you need to use it. You need to use it consistently. When you upload, you have to do the back end of your YouTube account correctly. When you upload, you can have default settings, but also each time you upload a video, you put a title, you put tags on it, which are your keywords, and you put a description so that when anyone's searching YouTube for something, it helps with your SEO. You'll also associate your website with that YouTube channel. How many of you have not, let's do it the easy way. How many have not gone to YouTube to figure out how to do something? We're putting in a new microwave over our oven, and we found a video of the exact microwave we bought. It took the guy 2 minutes and 45 seconds to replace it. It took my husband and I 2.5 hours, and we watched the video at least 12 times, but we did get it in. The fact is, how-to videos, replaying your webinars like this one I will put up, and you guys can come back and watch it because you forget things. I do that all the time. And you need to make use of that search engine that YouTube is. Promote those useful videos. Pull them into your emails, pull them into your social medias, pull them onto your website. So now you've connected that to a whole bunch of different places, and Google knows that. Google knows that we're sending yourself out in a spider and connects you. and create a timely video about your company that's always there. It's very easy to do. There's a lot of online tools, I didn't put them here, that you can use to create a simple video. It's so prevalent now. You can create it with your phone and then upload it and edit it on YouTube. It's a great place to be. Second thing you should do today is be on YouTube. Blogging. Oh no, I'm not going to do that. I don't have time. That's what all of you just thought. So when I think of blogging, I look at a blog as a piece of software that takes content and archives it and holds it for you in categories. So I don't look at it as, oh, I have to write a blog and it's this long, 3-page article. A blog article should have, we'll do this one first before I tell you what it should have. It enables you to reach billions of people on the internet. It promotes yourself. It shows that you're an authority on your business, and it attracts an audience that you can provide value to. So a blog post to me, when I'm doing a marketing plan, there's one blog post a month, always has a picture in it, always can have a video in it, it has a signature line in it, and I've written an article once a month to put on my blog. That blog is connected directly into my WordPress site, so that when Google crawlers go through, they look at new content once a month, if not more. So one of the things you want to do when you do your blog is you want to have a picture or a video. The picture needs to be named correctly. The video needs to come from YouTube. The text that you put on it should be 500 words to 2,000 words, making sure that it has content and has some of your keywords. There should be a call to action in that blog, whether it's watch the video or download something or whatever. And you should always have a signature on that blog. Every blog post that you make is an individual blog page, a website page. So just like your email that you send out, you should have a signature on the bottom of that page that's your company name, a link to your website, a link to your Facebook, YouTube, and whatever. That's in every single one, because when Google looks at that, it looks at another page that's pushing back to all of your sites. Podcasting. Again, I'm not going to do that. I don't have time, is what you're thinking. So I would talk about using it as, and I don't have a podcast. It's something I'm considering, but I don't have one. If you make a video, it's a how-to video or it's a learning video like this, to be able to strip the audio out and put it up as a podcast, then people can listen to it. Because people love podcasts. It can just be part of your website that the person can download that content. So let's say you had to leave early today, right? But there's going to be more of it. Had I stripped the audio out of this and put it up as a podcast, you can pull it into it, listen to it while you walk on your treadmill, while you go for a walk outside, now that it's nice, in your car. It's reusing an asset you already have and creating another way for your potential customers to use it. So it needs to be mobile friendly, so I can just download it on my phone. It can be scalable. You can interview people. You can have conversations with people. We have Zoom. We're on Zoom right now. You could start a Zoom meeting, because we're recording this, Joanna.
Right.
And Joanna and I could just be side by side having a conversation about whatever we wanted to and record it. And that can be a video and a podcast. So with one asset you've created, you've now created 2 pieces of content that you can use. I don't need to sit in front of it and watch it, but I can listen to it. So keep that in mind about podcasts.
And Virginia, if I can interject, when one records on Zoom, you actually have an audio track and a video track. The video obviously combines both, but you can have just the audio track.
Correct. So it's already doing the work for you. I mean, so many platforms have come so far. You don't have to take it out into another software and strip it out. Excuse me. So yeah, it's just that easy. And you don't have to broadcast that Zoom meeting to anyone. You can use Zoom with a good camera and lights, by the way. And just yourself, you can talk about your business, or you could demo a product and record it. It's so easy now. You don't have to do all this extra work. You can do it in your house, right? So keep that in mind. Email. So email, I said at the beginning, two things. One, it is the best one-to-one connection with your clientele or potential clientele. But in times of COVID, with all the emails, open rates have dropped 8 to 10% across the board. This is a conversation that I and all my other solution providers at Constant Contact have been having about how clients' content has been going down. So you need to keep that in mind. But one of the things you need to do is remember, when you get that email, when I get an email, it's now, never, or later. Is it important enough to open now? Oh, there's something there, I might want to look at it, or am I going to swipe and it's going to be gone forever? So your email marketing really needs to be about them. What's good to them? So I send an email every week to my clientele, but that email is about a topic that, like, next Monday's is about LastPass. If none of you have used it, LastPass is a free online password keeper. It's a great, but the free version is changing, where when you use the free version, you can use it on multiple desktops and on my phone and all different kinds of things. Now you have to pay for it. I've paid for it for a long time because I have a business account, and all my employees I can share things with. That's different. But what happened is someone bought it because it was such a great deal and everyone was using it, and now you're going to have to pay for it. Excuse me, I got something there. And this goes back to one of my things where you need to own your platforms and have control over it. Now, I love LastPass. I will continue to use it. I have no problem paying $36 a year for it. But you need to be aware that if you put your website on one of the platforms like Squarespace, Wix, or GoDaddy Builder, if they change how their platform operates, you have nowhere to go. You're stuck within that. Not saying they're bad. Don't misunderstanding me. I don't promote them. I use WordPress. I use a custom WordPress plugin that's on an ISP. My clients always own their own home. Very important. Anyway, back to email. Sorry, I digressed there. We want to make sure when we send out that email, it's something they want to get. So like I said, I'm talking about LastPass, but also in that is listed at my free Friday trainings, right? So what I'm giving my clientele and the people who are on my email list is something for them. Not buy this now, do this now, create this now. I am offering them my expertise, and if they want to open it, it's great. I'm continuing to build that credible relationship with them so they want to open it. So my open rate is between 25 and 28%, which is excellent. I know we all want 100, but that's just not how it goes. And you need to remember that, but email is the one-to-one, 40 times more effective than social media.
Virginia,
Content.
can I throw in a question? Email question?
Absolutely.
All right. Best practices for subject lines if you want them to open. And also the second part of that is, how often should emails be sent out?
Okay, so it depends on your clientele. Like I said, I do one a week, and I do that because I was doing those weekly trainings. I upped it to once a week. I'm continuing once a week. I always provide information, like I said, about LastPass or about Microsoft or about something else about their business that's for them. It has nothing to do with please buy from me. And I also add those trainings. So the email that goes to my clientele is about stuff that they would find interesting in, period. So you can decide that if you're a marketing company that has an online store and you're selling shoes for, let's say, that's different. And you have to decide how often people want to get them. You'll get an idea as you're sending every single week who stays on and who goes off, right? So last year, by doing the free trainings, because I wasn't going out and meeting people, how was I going to grow my email list? So for me, I had to figure out a way to do that. And what I did is I partnered with a bunch of different people. I gave free trainings to any nonprofit who wanted to it, any chamber. I still do this. I never charge for it. But I also leveraged my Constant Contact partnership. And that's how you found me, Joanna.
Right.
In terms of, I have these free trainings, I put them into my portal on Constant Contact, and they promote them then to their 300,000 list in my area. So last year, between March and December, I grew my email list by 300 names with never leaving my house. Now, each time I sent out, I lost 2, 5, 10 people who were, got on and got off. And that's always going to happen. So, it's got to be about them. It's got to be something they want. And you need to decide in your business how often is good. Whether it's once a month, once a week, once a quarter, that's just something you have to figure out. And everyone is different. And then the subject line. The subject line has to be something that's interesting to them. One of the things I teach in email best practices, it needs to be now. I want to open it now. So it might say 2 ways to keep your dog, 2 ways to keep your dog, to beat the heat with your dog because it's hot summer. What can I do for him? I have a dog. I'm going to open it to see that. 2 quick ways to improve email marketing. You're giving them a number, and a lot of people push back about this number, 2 to 3 things. But I, as a reader, have time to read 2 or 3 things. I do not have a time to read something that says, here's your newsletter. That newsletter is going to be way too long for me. And I usually do 1 article and maybe a video. I pull in my last training video and then the upcoming trainings. Very simple. That's all. I want to share with them. I don't want to give them 12 different things that are going on. So if you're selling something, you might want to do just 2 different types of red shoes, or red shoes and blue shoes, and see who likes what. You need to do A/B testing, and you need to make it interesting. You should never go over 5 words in a subject line because they're never going to display, right? But if I'm going to do it now, I have time for 2 things or 5 things, or this change. LastPass this change, what do you do? Those kind of things. Hopefully that was helpful. I kind of rambled there.
No, that's okay. And I've got a quick question as a follow-up to that.
Uh-huh.
For those of us, and many on this call have special events, and we're all guilty of reminders and last call and have you RSVP'd yet, and getting things out there. And sometimes, we know this in the chamber world, sometimes people wait until that very last email before they act on it. So what is too much with that? Do you have an opinion on that one?
So yes and no. Okay, I think too much. You need to be consistent in terms of, I'm going to tell them the events that are coming out on Monday with my email, right? So I'm doing a Monday email. So they know that they're going to find those events. And then maybe the last 2 weeks is when you do those reminders, right? The Friday before, it's going to go in that Monday again, and then the Wednesday and Thursday before. So you're right. People sign up at the very last minute. That is a fact of life. But I would, if you have events like the chamber and you're putting something out once a week, right? So whether it's Monday or Friday or whenever you do it, those events are always there. But then in the 2 weeks before, you up that amount is what I would do.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Absolutely. So content messaging. Content marketing creates value. Content marketing is the blogging and putting information out there and making sure you're talking about your business or talking about it with someone else on their platform about their business. You're providing that useful information for the potential client or your client to work in their business. Content is not a call to action, okay? It is providing content that will benefit them. You want to be available everywhere they want to connect. So when you go back to choosing your social media, decide where you want to be and where you don't be. I am not on Instagram. I am not on Pinterest. I am not on Twitter. I don't think those, not that I don't think they're valuable platforms. I don't think that's a platform for me. 6 years ago, when Pinterest was the rising star, I had a business Pinterest page, but I didn't feel as social media changed, I need to be there, and I pulled it back down. Twitter is definitely something that's not for me. My clients don't need to be reminded 5 times a day about something. They just don't. And you can use curated content. Curated content is when you go out on the website, out on the World Wide Web, and get content that's symbiote to you. I use Mashable, I use Microsoft, I use CNET, I use a lot of different platforms that are authorities, and then I will put a blog page out and talk about it, and then use that to show that I think the same as this partner, right? Curated content is perfectly acceptable. You just need to push them back to where it came from and show that content. And it's great to curate content. One of the things you can do is in that email address you created for your Google, all of your Google, is put Google alerts in there that bring in information about others about your company. So I would put things in there like social media or IT services or things like that, or Microsoft changes, and those are all pulled into that Google account, and I can then go and look at them to get ideas, to see what's relevant, to see what's happening, and then curate that account content to my blog site. So when it comes to doing all the social media, I would use a management tool to post. And there's a bunch of different levels of management tools. If you're part of Constant Contact, they have upped their social calendar, which is a place to start, because then all your stuff is in one place, can be pushed out from one place, and you can look at it in a snapshot. CoScheduler, I've used before. I used to like it. I've moved to Mav Social, which gives me more tools to push out. Hootsuite, you can use the free version. The problem with the Hootsuite free version is it says on it posted by Hootsuite. It doesn't say it's posted by Weiskopf Consulting. It says posted by Hootsuite. That's a problem for me. I want to be the poster. So think about using management tool. If you have, like if you use Constant Contact, you can try that one out for free and see what works for you, and then move to more, a more in-depth one. But be able to manage everything as a plan when you're doing your social media and your content. So we are just about an hour. Look at that. So,
Beautiful.
oh, look, I didn't update my slide. Anyway, you can find my upcoming events on Weiskopf Consulting on the education page. You can also get to my YouTube channel, which has all my old trainings on it. Or if you have any questions, here's my email address. So I really thank you for letting me speak today. I hope you have a couple more questions for me, and I'd be happy to answer them. Joanna, thank you so much.
Oh, Virginia, thank you so much. This was extraordinary. And I think the fact that there aren't more questions are a tribute to your presentation, because it was very thorough. There is one question here. How do you lose people? I'm assuming with well, maybe it's
If we're talking about
they have
email
an option
marketing,
to unsubscribe? Yeah, do they have an option to unsubscribe?
they have to have an option.
Contact.
There's a law, the CAN Spam Act, that says you have to, they have to be able to unsubscribe. And once they do that, they're off. And all of the big email companies are a proponent of that and do it because they need to keep their servers from being blacklisted because people are uploading spam. So yeah, that's why they get off. They just, and on any given day, you guys, you're getting out, I just don't want to see that anymore. So I unsubscribe. You just don't know. It's best not to read them because you'll just, take it personally.
Okay, so here's a question. It's a little off topic a little bit, but
Sure.
since you brought it up, LastPass, to describe exactly what that is.
LastPass is an online password keeper. You can have a free version. That free version used to give you, so on on all 3 of my computers that sit on my desk, plus my phone here, plus my iPad, I connect my LastPass. Now my LastPass is a business one, because in LastPass, I not just have my LastPasswords, I have all my clients grouped by folder. So when I used to go out to clients, remember that last year? If I needed a password, I could look it up on my phone And I have to tell you, my clients don't remember their passwords. And I ask all of my clients to use LastPass because then everything is in there. And it saves it for you. So then if you save it in LastPass and you're working on, like, say, this computer, and you go to sign into a place, it automatically then fills the username and password for you. You don't have to remember it. You have to remember your LastPass password, but it saves and autofills, and it's a great tool because now we don't have 2 passwords, we have 100. And so it's LASTPASS. You can get a free account, and every time you sign in, so you sign up to LastPass. I'm assuming you're using Google Chrome, which you should be, or Safari. There's a plugin that goes into it, and so every time you go to that website, you click on a little button, it drops down, and it fills for you, and it remembers that. It's a great tool. It saves me hours, and it saves me hours too when I have to look up a password for a client who will not take the time to set up LastPass. But it's a great tool.
Super. Thank you so much. And no other questions. Anyone else have anything? I don't see anything popping up, but thank yous. And Virginia, thank you so much for this. We
You're
so
welcome.
appreciate it. It was so thorough. Very, very well done. And I'll look forward to then receiving from you the slides, and what we can do is
So today is what, Thursday? What day is it? So tomorrow I'll probably edit and send you the slides and upload it, so there's a link to the YouTube channel and you'll have everything.
You're
Okay?
wonderful. You're wonderful. Good. Again, you're getting kudos. So thank you, Virginia,
More
so
than
much.
welcome.
And I would say if we have to celebrate an anniversary of the pandemic, it should be this way, where we're taking all these lessons that have been learned over this past year and applying them in a way that's going to make us more accessible and better communicating with our customers and clients. So
I'm going to add one more thing, which I didn't say. It's that everything will be a hybrid now. You will begin doing things more than just going out to places. There always needs to be an online component.
excellent, excellent. Well, and I would say to everyone, if you all want to learn about anything else, and we want to reach out to Virginia and find out when she might have one of her sessions, please let us know. Get in touch with the Chamber, let us know, and we will forward that answer to you. Virginia, again, you're getting thank yous, thank yous, thank yous.
Great. It was great.
So appreciated, Virginia. Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful day, and we'll look forward to seeing you next week for the next presentation.